Welcome back to Founders in the Field, the show where we go behind the scenes with agency leaders, consultants, and creative founders to show you how they're building, scaling, and staying sane in the trenches. I'm your host, Stefan Bradley, and today's guest is Vince McCollum, co-founder and president of Black Jet Ventures. How are you doing, Vince?
Doing great. How are you?
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on. Let's dive straight in. For people who don't know your story, take us right back to the start of your journey and what made you start your own business, and give us an overview of what your role looks like today at Black Jet Ventures.
Yeah, sure. So I have been an executive marketer for most of my career, spanning back to over 15 years ago is when I kind of got my first executive role. Been a CMO 7 times now properly and almost 30 times fractionally. And I was at a golf retreat, just hanging out with the guys and playing golf, and I met my what would be my new business partner. He came from a background of owning companies, being the CEO, kind of calling the shots. Between his expertise and mine, we kind of decided to combine forces. Now, it was my first time into entrepreneurship and kind of not working for someone else and working for myself and just working for us. So it's been really great so far. That was just over a year ago, and everything's been humming along. I now take more of I guess you could call it like a biz dev role, but I'm also responsible for our marketing and our strategies. You know, he still is responsible for the company and the health and finance. Like, we still stick to our core strengths, but now with our combined forces, we've decided to start a venture that we can support and provide that expertise in operations across our entire portfolio.
Perfect. So could go into a bit more detail of what you provide for businesses? What does Black Jet Ventures actually do for businesses?
Yeah, so what Black Jet Ventures will do is we will either acquire or invest in, so we have some kind of an ownership stake in a company that we feel is going to be big. Obviously, like, what a lot of private equity, family groups, VCs do. It's not really any different. The biggest difference for us, though, is what we kind of call operations beyond the capital. So what we want to be able to provide for these companies: financial, operational, leadership, culture, marketing, revenue operation kind of experience into these companies so that we can make them as profitable and as successful and as efficient and effective as possible, kind of going forward as long as we have involvement. So a lot of companies will kind of provide insight, they'll provide capital, and then they kind of do one of these things and walk away. We believe that because it's our protected interest, but I've been a CMO for so long, like, I know the strategy we need to put in. I can do this before the week's over. We don't need to waste money on what that strategy and marketing can look like. Let's just sprint together. So that's why we have been really successful, is helping put in those kind of operations outside of our investment, and it's really paid off and worked really well.
No, I can definitely see how that would work so much better than somebody just, pumping money and giving you some insights, whereas you have
Right.
both have skin in the game now with that company. Like, if you was investing in, for example, like my company, and then they were saying, here's an investment, but you carry on doing what you're doing, but you're actually saying, here's an investment and we're going to help you get to the targets that you're wanting to get to.
Right, exactly right. And because of that too, like, I think there's a lot of solopreneurs, entrepreneurs who start a venture and they wear every single hat. By creating a venture group, we have someone who can address sales, we can have someone who can address finance, someone who can address marketing. So this operational team is really kind of all encompassing as far as departments go. There's really nothing that we can't deploy, and nothing that we don't at least have 10 to 12 years of experience across of our leadership team and group. So, the capital is great. Sometimes that's just all a company needs, and that's fine. That's wonderful. But sometimes they're like, hey, I don't have sales addressed, and we can really pick right up day one and helping them do that.
Oh, definitely. And, using not just your expertise, but your whole team's expertise, it kind of gives the business a vehicle to actually get there, as opposed to giving them capital and then them having to hire out these different roles to expand their business for them able to scale. You're actually saying, we're going to invest in you, and then sort of not just to protect our investment, but to help you scale, we're actually going to work. Is it all on like a fractional base?
I'm trying to think. I don't think outside of maybe 2 of our entities are we not the full-time CMO. So I'd say the other ones are fractional. But there's fractional in 2 parts. Like, fractional as in we just need to do this on the side minimally because we're focused more on sales, that part of the revenue, maybe a little bit more focused on operations, distribution, facilitation of that kind of stuff. The other kind of part of it though is also consider ourselves as like an interim CMO. So like we are the right placeholder for the right person to then come and take charge after the fact. But those proper CMOs or CROs, like they are a lot of money. So we're not a bad alternative as an interim until you find that right hire.
So, when a company, you invest in a company and they need sales and they need, marketing, all this different types of thing, you actually step in and do that for them. Even it's like you said, only 2 of them you said was fractional. The rest are actually they're full-time, working with them full-time. Is that correct? Yeah, well, I can definitely see the value for, especially like you say, solopreneurs and smaller companies, like to be able to give them that vehicle, or do you know what I mean, kind of supercharge them to actually get to that next level of growth. So like, how do you pick a company that you want to invest in? Do you have like a certain strategy that you like, they meet these sort of targets or meet these criteria and then you go with that? Or is it more like a bit of a gut feeling as well?
I mean, sure, I think there's always a little bit of recipe to that. I think though a lot of people who do what we do would probably agree that it comes down to timing. I mean, you can be ready, you can have the right strategy, you can put the right KPIs in, and it's just the wrong time. A lot of our deals have happened because they're the right time. So either from inception or through acquisition, like that's the thing. And I would say the variable that we, probably lean to the most. So there's no rhyme or reason to it, but we source a lot of deals, we listen to a lot of pitches. It comes down to our timing. And with that said, is it time for you guys, the company that we're maybe looking into, like to do marketing, to maybe seize the market? Do they understand their product market fit? Is it the right time to produce this? So, I mean, timing has everything to do with not just availability, but just their time frame on if they're even ready or not.
So when you invest in a company, is there like a certain target of like the amount of the company that you sort of like acquire or invest into? Do you know what I mean? So like after you invest into it, is it like 20% of the company, or is it mixed?
It is mixed. I think maybe 20 to 25% is our lowest ownership percentage, and we have between 25 all the way to 100%. So we have 7 companies under our portfolio management. I would say 3 of them are 100%, and the others are scattered somewhere between 25 and 51.
So then once you've invested into it, do they then pay you for the fractional services on top of that?
It depends. So like if we're minority control, no, or if we're 100% control, no, we do this on, there's no overhead because we're the ones doing it. It doesn't always make sense to do it that way. We do have some other interests where if we might have a contingency if we're to come in and marketing is needed, to hire our marketing agency to do that, but that's really just on a case-to-case basis.
So what does your role look like today, like your day-to-day role? Yeah. What are you sort of in charge of, and what are you doing, spending the most of your time doing?
Yeah. Sometimes it's death by meetings, sometimes it's 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's just nonstop. But I would say for me personally, my role has been relationship management and then overall revenue strategy. So putting that in for either our clients, our portfolio, or our portfolio's clients. Right. So because it's second nature for me, I've done this for so long, like I'm the right one to do it and to do it quickly. I don't need a lot of things except for just a few questions that I need answered from them, and then I'm off to the races. So that is kind of where I'm spending a lot of time. What we like to do at Blackjet Ventures, though, is go many layers deep. So we'll kind of have a strategy and a plan. That's plan A. But we have a plan B and a C and a D and an E, and sometimes an F. Like we go that deep so that we are not ever left out in the cold. We're not ever left without a decision to be made. Like we have done our homework.
So now we know, a bit of background and context of Blackjet Ventures, but also your role in it and, what you did before then. Let's switch gears a little bit. What are the biggest trends that you're seeing in the market today?
Man, if the biggest trend isn't AI, I don't know what it would be, right? The interesting thing is AI is so big and grand and hairy and like, I don't know. It's almost like it's taken this whole other life of its own, is outside of even what it can do operationally as far as like what people understand it can even do. So there's misconceived notions of what AI can do. I'll tell you one thing though. I feel like we're facing a little bit of a misuse pandemic in a way, where human intelligence and thought seem to just now go by the wayside, and we are strictly using Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, and we're just copy pasting things without editing, without thinking about it, without even reading through it. We don't know if it's the right thought. It's just like, here it is, next. And so we're like almost using AI as like a checklist item to be like, all right, I need to come up with a proposal. I need to write a contract. I need to create a website. I need to create a brand strategy. And it's just like, here's a prompt, first prompt only, copy paste, I'm done. Wait, what next? What do we need to do? I'm like, and it's just awful. It's bad. It's taken the creativity out of it. It's taken the human all the human parts out of it. And it we're able to do more, sure, but it's almost like we're marketing in a less intelligent way. And I feel like that's a real shame. So like as far as the AI trend has been going, the use of AI trend and the savvy part of that, and I think what it was really intended to do to help businesses, I feel like is on the decline because the quality isn't there anymore.
Yeah, no, definitely. Especially when you're using tools like you just mentioned there without putting in your expertise in the memory, So like, if you're a marketing genius, you work, for however long somebody's worked in marketing, if you can then put your frameworks in your brain of how you construct things into it, you're still not going to be able to copy and paste it. You shouldn't just copy and paste it over, but it already has pre-built context from your brain, do you know what I mean? And then you can make quick edits to it. It's probably the, better way to use it. And I feel like it's a tool that you use, not something that replaces you, and that's where the value is in it. And if you're already great at something, you can make it much quicker by putting what's in here into the machine for it to them to go back onto them frameworks every time it needs to produce something.
No, absolutely. Like I feel like the people who understand that AI can be a helpmeet to you, and can kind of like be an extension of you, they're probably the ones who are getting it right. Like for me to write out an entire brand strategy, which could be 8 to 10 pages on a doc, like that's going to take me a long time. Chat's going to get me done 70% faster. And then I need to spend 20% of my time after that editing. And then I have a 10%, ready to kind of create things and have a finished product. But there's too many people who, exactly what you're saying, who are using it instead of them to replace. We see this in email correspondence. We see this all the time where I'm like, am I even talking to you anymore? Are you even giving this any thought? Like, what's your actual feedback? Because what I'm getting is an AI best practice, and I don't even think you understand what the conversation is that's happening. We literally got this about 2 weeks ago. We were working and partnering with someone, and the copy paste was, hey, please respond to Vince, who made a lot of good points, but maybe take an open angle that he didn't, so that you can combat your point, and then the rest of the chat. He copied and pasted his prompt with it, and I was just like, dude, what are you doing? I'm not even getting you. I'm not even getting your emotion. If you're mad, if you're upset, if you're excited, if you're happy, like, you need to also receive that, so I kind of know where on the same page we are, how far away we are, how much aligned or misaligned we are. Like, if I'm just getting copy paste regurgitation crap, like, I'm not getting you anymore. And if I'm not getting you, then this doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, this doesn't work. So I feel like there are people who are using AI to replace functions or even themselves as a whole, and I'm like, you're just doing it as a checklist item. You're no longer doing it to be savvy, and I feel like that's a shame.
And to your point of what you said then, AI should never replace the human relationship part of anything. So whether that's sales, whether that's client communications, because it's vital, like you said, to understand how you're feeling. Like, nobody's going to explain how you're feeling better than you, because you're the only one feeling it. And, that's in my opinion, that's like a misuse of AI. It's a misuse of where it can be the most productive, automating tasks, follow-ups, outreach, different things like that, where you can sort of, you don't know the person as well yet, do you know what I mean? But when you're actually in a conversation with somebody like a client, do you know what I mean, and you want to know how it's going for them, how they feel and things like that, that's something definitely AI shouldn't be stepping in place of. I feel like, especially with the way AI is going and how automation's going and agentive AI and all these different types of things, I think human connection is something that's the supply and demand of it's going to be, misaligned, because everybody's going to want it. And in a world where so much everything can be automated now or AI can be used in it, there are certain parts of business and life that I feel like human to human connection is going to be valued the most, and that's one of them.
No, I absolutely agree with you. So it's kind of one scenario that we're seeing right now, and I don't know if this echoes or is relevant for you and what you're seeing. Like AI is doing a lot and doing a lot of good things and a lot of great things. I mean, we use it every single day in every part of the operation that we do, and rightfully so. It's been awesome if you know how to use it right. But that means that the future of business is still contingent on and still super important to create relationships, have things that are based in relationships, creating relationship equity. That's massively important. I don't know how it has been for you, but I can say this for Blackjet Ventures. Like we, before this started in our own individual paths. So like our e-commerce guy created and led Home Depot and all the e-commerce there. Like we assembled this mega all-star team. But before we were a team, like we all went through hardships. I mean, I can speak for myself and my business partner. Like we got our asses kicked multiple times. We got massively humbled. Like the road in business and from business is very difficult. And you take wins and you take losses, and the strong survive because they're the ones who can get through it. I'm not saying anything that other entrepreneurs don't understand, but what I am saying, maybe that sometimes we forget, is you will earn the right eventually, and we have here at Blackjet, that I don't have to do business with you if I don't want to. We've now earned the right where we get to do business with people we want to, not who we need to. And I feel like that is a testament to the hard work. That is a validation to every experience that we've earned, the good and the bad, to shape who we are today. So yeah, AI can come and help, but at the end of the day, like if I have this personal interaction with you, I see how you are and your tone, I can see your smile and your frown and how you react to things, and then I get this automated stuff. At the end of it, I'm like, do I still want to work with this person? Because like, am I getting all of them? Because they're one person over here, a different person over there. And like I said, there's so much business to be had, especially in revenue operations and data and AI and everything else. Like, I don't have to choose you. And good luck. Like, find someone else within your own tribe that like wants to behave like you. You guys can talk AI back and forth, like, and use AI to talk back and forth, like whatever. Turn me.
Yeah.
So I feel like there is that, like, and I do think that that's one awesome thing that we have going on at Blackjet Ventures, and that's really a meta thing outside the revenue, outside the operation, is that freedom of choice of clientele and relationships and partnerships. Like, and I feel like that's so invaluable. I don't even know how to categorize that as like really truly how great that is.
No, the authenticity is such a key thing, do you know what I mean, in business relationships, where a lot of business deals live and die is in the relationship of how you convey yourself. And if there's a vibe check, if you think that, you know, I can work with this person, I understand this person. But yeah, and if you come across not authentic, you know, or you speak one way and then it's totally different another way, I completely understand, and I could see why that's going to hinder a business 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Vince, what is working well and where do you feel slight friction at Blackjet Adventures?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we have a lot of things working well for us. We probably have a very similar pain point that a lot of entrepreneurs or venture groups have, and that is the need to scale sales, right? So we're currently on the offensive and we're currently on the attack mode of raising an army of salespeople. We leverage AI very, very regularly. Like I said, we have marketing dialed in, we have our product market fit, we have our ICP, we have our messaging, our positioning, like finance, CRM, everything is humming, but we just need the word out more with the sales team, you know, boots on the ground, that kind of soldier work. I feel like that's never going to stop. Like I said, I'm not saying anything that other entrepreneurs don't know, especially first timers like me. It's like the more sales you have, the better life's going to be, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody looks at the Lakers or the Cowboys or the Yankees and they're like, they're not doing so well, like because they're winning.
Yeah.
I mean, winning solves everything. Sales solves everything, right? It even masks some things that maybe it shouldn't, but it's still win. And so I think that that's what we're trading for ourselves, is whereas, you know, any other venture group is an army of sales that can produce revenue so that it does help you get through that day to day and the roller coaster of the wins versus the losses.
So is that like expanding the sales team or actually generating more revenue, like getting more sales closed?
Well, I mean, I think expanding the sales team naturally brings apart or upon you more revenue and revenue opportunities, right? Like the deals that we have, I mean, we're very self-sufficient. I mean, like we could put this on autopilot and walk away tomorrow and it's okay, but like that's not why you get into business. That's not why you want to work for yourself. That's not why you want to build something great. So it is about getting more soldiers into that army and creating something that everyone believes in and are unified to believe in, because part of why we work outside of locking out compensation is for our own fulfillment, and everyone loves working with people that are awesome to work with. It helps coming to the office every day. It helps getting your mindset around, creating this other little tribe outside of your family and friends back home. Like, so creating a like-minded army of individuals who want to go sell and create that opportunity for themselves as well as with you, like, I think is massive.
That leads me nicely on to my next question, which is, could you walk me through your client acquisition process? Like, how do you actually get sales in for these sales reps to actually close?
Yeah, so oddly enough, I mean, before, I don't think we were doing anything outside of what everyone knows to do, right? You go through due diligence phase. I mean, you're looking at finances, you're looking at all this stuff. Like, it's not anything different. I'm not going to be able to share anything that's like exciting or interesting. It's boring. It's the same old stuff. But what we've done recently is we actually acquired a data company that we're swallowing up under our iconic brand for marketing, where we want to place a proprietary pixel on your website that allows you to know who's coming and what intent they have in real time. We don't scrape databases. We're not like a Zoom Info. We're not an Apollo or Seamless. Like, that stuff's 10 years old. In fact, I tell people this all the time. We were in Austin, Texas just 2 weeks ago today, actually. And I got a call. They were like, hey, you come to this conference? Like, how, do you still want to get your booth set up? And I was like, who is this? Like, is this Vince? And I was like, yes, but who are you? And like, well, we have you listed as the CMO for this landscaping company. And I was like, I haven't been there in almost 10 years. Where did you get my info? And they're like, oh, well, we have our ways. And I was like, look, man, let's just talk right now, man to man. Like, I'm in the business too. What are you using? He's like, oh, well, I'm using Zoom Info. And I was like, dude, it's been 9.5 years since I've been there. So I don't know where you're getting your data. Like, that sucks. And like, now we both know. So what we do is like, it's like real intent. We get your intent. We get shopper buyer profiles and behaviors every 24 hours. Nothing's older than 30 days. We use those as natural lead lists, right? To replace not how data's been done in the 2010s by scraping databases, but by real-time consumer and buyer behaviors today. So we use those lists for our customers, for our clientele, for acquisition. We use that for our own gain. We use that to feed our own sales team. Like, I mean, it's a massive opportunity. Like, one of our businesses is called the Home Improvement Stores, where you can go and get remodels for kitchen and bath and flooring. If I know that you're searching in flooring in a certain area yesterday, you were actively and intently shopping that, and I called you today or showed up today, and I without being creepy and saying I know you were looking at today, how likely are you to buy from me because I'm the first and more competitive option in front of you just 24 hours later? Yeah. Like, I'm going to close that sale. So that is kind of what we've transitioned, as we kind of saw that, like, hey, we're not doing anything different than what anyone else is doing. So what can give us an edge? And everything, all roads led back to data. The smarter the data, the better. The more accurate the data, the better. And so why don't we produce it? We started looking into ways. It's insanely expensive. We found another way where we can really generate our own pixel, create our own, basically just code it ourselves to do that, and then buy a company that addresses the data, use our insights to make them smarter and better. So by combining our forces, and then off to the races. So like, that's what we're doing now, and I'll tell you, like, it's pure gold. Like, now we're really operating on an entirely other level than what everyone else is doing.
So let me just try and make sure I understand this. So it's like sort of like monitoring inbound signals, and people like that actually are looking, but they've not bought anything, and then from there you outreach to them.
Yeah, I mean, like for you, let's say that you're at Starbucks and you're looking around for a marketing agency to replace your current one. You're trying to compare pricing. Like, you need to get it replaced, but you're not in quite a hurry. Like, I can grab your profile with our company. We also verify that through the USPS database, so I know that your information is valid, verified and correct. So I know what your intent is, being about medium, because you're shopping around for agencies. You're not really honing in on one because you have to make a decision now. So
Yeah.
I know your mid-level intent. I know where you are. I know what you're looking for. I know what's important to you, and I have your email, phone number, and address. So now
Okay.
I can just reach out to you as a sales team, and I can have an actual conversation with you based off of like what you are wanting to do versus a cold outreach, which is like, maybe you want to consider sales or marketing or flooring, and it's like, hopefully you got me at the right time. This time I know I'm getting you at the right time.
Yeah, so it's kind of like using inbound, but using their intent, that they're actually, then that they're in the market, they're looking to do whatever you're selling, depending on which company
Right.
it is, and then using your signals, what you're trying to do, and you're going to step in there before I make that decision, for example.
Yeah. Real time lead lists with contact information and shopping intent is like, I mean, that's the new frontier. And the people who don't migrate there are probably going to fall behind.
So in terms of for Blackjet Ventures, is that people that are looking on your website or are searching for venture capital or marketing?
Yeah.
Is that type of thing?
Yeah, I mean all of the above, right? So I mean we're looking at well over $300 million or 300 million shoppers. I mean 2.5 billion data points. I mean every single day with every 24 hours on a refresh. Like, so I can know who's potentially looking for capital. I can know who's potentially looking for investment. To what degree is that? Are they early stage? So I can also be looking at their company and figure out, is this a startup? Is this someone who's looking for a Series A versus a B versus seed, angel money, like all of that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, as you can probably tell, like whether you're a B2C, a B2B business, or if you are in the equity game, like there's nothing that data can't or shouldn't do for you.
Well, it sounds sophisticated and it sounds like a good use of tech, definitely. So Vince, where do you want to be in the next 12 to 18 months in terms of business?
I think we want to be in probably two parts. One is a higher functioning revenue operation all around for every portfolio business. So all of our businesses under portfolio are in the green. Everything's fine, but like obviously the greener the better. So I would say like we want to hit a mark where we truly put the right CEO and leadership C-suite team on every entity so that we're more operating on the business instead of always inserting ourselves in the business maybe. And then I would say the second one is we'll know we've done that if our freedom looks vastly different in 18 months than where it does today. And what's really cool is like right now, none of us miss any of our kids' basketball games or play practices or dance recitals. Like we have that freedom, but like the freedom where if we're on a beach somewhere doing this and taking calls while a team is operating, which I feel like we're pretty close to doing, like that experience for you and your family and your loved ones and your friends while business is happening, that's going to be the frontier of like, that was the difference maker.
It sounds like you've already got a good work-life balance, and that's just sort of the next level up, isn't it? That's sort of what a lot of people.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the truth. Like once you've tasted what work-life balance should feel like, you just want to grow it. It's addictive. It's like almost its own drug. So like that's really what we're looking at.
Yeah, that's a goal for nearly probably every entrepreneur, a
I'm
vast majority of us. So Vince, my last question is, if you could wave a magic wand and fix one thing in your business, what would it be and why?
Man, I would probably say never have to think about sales again. Like, wouldn't it be great if sales just
Came in.
it didn't need to be a thing. It just came, and what you're doing is just creating cool stuff. I mean, like speaking as a true marketer, like, wouldn't it be awesome if every day I'm working on a cool brand, designing cool things, just making cool videos and stuff, like regardless of revenue needed to power them or channels needed to launch them, like, so sales, like we kind of talked about, that fixes everything. The more you win, the easier life becomes. But we're now on to something where the better the data is, the smarter the sales can be. And we feel like that they need to go hand in hand. To be honest with you, man, like I don't feel like I need a magic wand. I just feel like I need to empower what we're currently doing and just be more consistent with it and more disciplined with it, because that is our magic wand. We've already found it. It's just to use for our own sake.
Sales is it's like oxygen, isn't it? You need it for the business. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, to be able to not think about that and it just comes in all the time. I think it'd be revolutionary to every business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Vince, thank you so much for coming on. I've really enjoyed our podcast and our chat. Where can people who are looking for Blackjet Ventures to services and want to work with you, where can they reach out to you or reach out to the company?
I mean, they can look at blackjetventures.com, but it's just a website. Like, I don't like sending people to websites. It's a freaking website. Like, who cares? To be honest, like follow me at Prince Vince on Instagram. We're always posting what we're up to, especially what our subsidiary companies. Like one of them is Wedge. That's a golf company that we own. Like we do fun stuff, and like I said, we've afforded ourselves the right to work with who we want, not who we need. And so we kind of want to show that, just to show like when you do it the right way, that's what business turns out to be. So, follow us. Blackjet Ventures also on Instagram. We're active, very active on LinkedIn, which is kind of a weird thing to say because most people point you to TikTok or Instagram. Like we're actually super active on LinkedIn. So like just check us out probably more on socials. And I'd love to more connect with people than sell people. Like I feel like just the more friends you have in the business and the more friends you have in the industry, like the easier your life becomes because you have an army of support, not because you have an army of clients. So that's just kind of my method.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like the network, what's the saying? Your network is just like your net worth or something like
Yeah,
that.
your network's your net worth, right?
Yeah. Well, everybody who's watching and listening, please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back next time. Vince, thank you again.
Absolutely. Thanks, Deb. Peace.